Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I am your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I am your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot.
And I'm your Cobra intern that was told to order some ARP tactical. I thought that meant bulletproof vest for old people. Codename Legion Cub.
You know, speaking of that, our good pal Wreck Ship, who is in the chat, ahoy! He did the impossible. What we jokingly talked about I think it was last episode or the one before, about cataloging all of Legion Cub's intros.
Oh, wow. He didn't tell me that.
He has done it. We will find a way to publish those. But what an achievement from the man himself,
Yeah.
Wreckship 85. Everybody check out Wreckship 85 on Instagram. And check us out, Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. While you're there, go to the pinned stories, get yourselves some cool Audible Interlude merch. But obviously, the Cobra intern shirt is selling like hot cakes. That's the item of the year. It's going to be the hit of the summer. It's going to be hot intern summer.
Right.
Maybe I should rethink that phrasing.
Hot turn summer.
at Joe Fest. Everybody's going to be sporting their Cobra intern shirts. I strongly recommend, Kristian, you bring a silver paint pen to sign them all, because that's probably going to be happening. Everybody, please wash your body parts before you ask Kristian to sign them. And I'm only halfway kidding with that, I think. You're watching us on the Needless Things YouTube channel, where you can catch us live every other week-ish. But in between times, I do toy reviews here. Lots of good stuff going up this week. Not a ton of G.I. Joe lately, although I will be reviewing this pretty soon.
I found
got
one as well yesterday. I did.
Nice.
I haven't opened it yet. That
Excellent.
box is heavy.
It is heavy, right?
Yeah.
For those listening, this is one of the new gem, I'm going to say, large-scale action figures.
Yeah.
from the loyal subjects. It is very impressive. It is very big, and it is very heavy. Interested to see. Very big hair.
What we've seen of their mask, I need to see ROM now, because
right. But I think the ROM is supposed to be just a reproduction.
Yeah,
I'm sure better materials.
I'm still okay with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, look, I want them to start with a reproduction, and then down the road give us like an updated one, like a cool, fully articulated. Like, I would love to see that.
Like the IDW one.
Although I got to imagine it would weigh like twice as much as that gem.
Probably.
So I mentioned shirts on TeePublic, but it's not just shirts. You can get phone cases, mugs, pillows, all kinds of stuff. Just click the pinned stories at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. You can also follow us on Blue Sky at Audible Interlude. I think it's Audible Interlude Podcast. Our next live stream will be April the 7th. And between now and then, 2/3 of us will have experienced Toylanta, which is this coming weekend. Noel will be there officially as part of the Finest. I will be there unofficially, wandering around, talking to people, and looking for some very specific toys that I'm not going to reveal here. And then the weekend after Toylanta, I will be at Stellarfest hosting panels. I will be doing a Doctor Who panel, a panel about Star Trek toys, a panel of adventure, and a very special Sunday morning 10 a.m. installment of the Big Damn Game Show.
I'm sorry, I will not be there on Sunday morning at 10 a.m.
Yeah, well, neither will anybody else. So.
And for those,
We've already decided if there's no audience, we are going to produce the weirdest hour of experimental theater anybody has ever seen, because we've got a stage and we've got a big, like, it's one of the main rooms. So
do you have some cameras to film
oh
it?
yeah,
That's the
yeah, we'll
question. Okay.
film it. We'll absolutely film it. So yeah.
and for everyone else
Weird.
that isn't going to Toylanta, over on my Blue Sky, I will be having a bratty, whiny, why does everybody else get to have fun?
Yes, meltdown.
If you want to join in the clickbaity anger fun, that's where it'll be.
So what he's saying is, if you are at Toylanta, be sure to tag him in all of your pictures.
Right.
Yeah. Especially Super Joes and Red Shadows and stuff like that.
There's so every
Did I even-
ad for Toylanta just more and more. It's gonna be like Joe Lanta, but or Joe Fest. I mean, but
I might have
I'll
forgotten.
be at Joe Fest.
I might have forgotten to put something in here, but we'll find out. We have got. This is what we were talking about before we came on the air. We have ended up with so much stuff to talk about tonight. I originally had. We've pushed this back a couple of weeks. I originally had a picture that I took at Joe Lanta in 2015, and you can see this great display of old stuff. And we're going to take a look at that picture and kind of speculate on what the prices were 10 years ago on a lot of the items. I won't talk about what they are. But anyway, I had to pull that because we've got so much other stuff to talk about, which we should get to it now. So next live stream, April the 7th. Shirts. Go to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Click the pinned stories. Get yourselves some merch. Look at that big, beautiful Cobra intern shirt right in the middle. You don't have to. Well, no, wait. I think you do have to get it in blue. I think I made different shades of blue available, but I think it's only available in blue.
Because you don't want to be an Iron Grenadiers intern and get it in black.
Right. Well, that'd be a whole other shirt. We can double our money doing different kinds of interns on this thing. Kristian, were you going to say something?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you look like you were gesturing.
No, I was agreeing with Noel. No one wants to be an Iron Grenadier intern.
That's just too many syllables.
Like,
well, that's a fact.
Look at all that they have to wear.
Would that just be an iron intern, though? Because I think the Grenadiers would be like the actual true
Iron Grintern.
Iron Grintern. I think that's it. That's definitely going to sell some merch. All right, so we got a little bit. This isn't really even follow-up, but it's just something that I wanted to talk about. Histank.com, which we're big fans of. I like seeing what people think over there. And they have their March Madness going on right now, which is when people nominate, 16 Joes and 16 Cobras that they want to see in classified. And the first brackets are up now. I wanted to talk about them real quick. It's not going to be real quick, but whatever. So this is the first bracket for the Joes. And this is torture, you guys. Let's go through it. So wetsuit versus airtight. Now, my vote on that is wetsuit because I got to have my special mission Brazil. Kristian, where are you on that one?
Wetsuit.
Noel?
I'm going airtight.
I thought you might. All right, next up, Lifeline versus Repeater. This is tough for me because Lifeline is like, he had a big presence in Sunbow. He's got a great figure design. But Repeater, I really want to see that rig in classified. I've talked about it before, and I think it would look great, and he'd be a different looking figure. But I got to have Lifeline.
I will repeat that. Lifeline.
We'll make it a 3-fer for Lifeline.
Oh,
I'm surprised he's not in the line already. He's one of the ones that, like, it kind of surprises me they haven't gotten to him.
Yeah, I agree. But I got to think maybe they've got some kind of special plan. Like there's something very specific they want to do to slot him into the line. And I'll remind Kristian and everybody, remember, Kristian, you were in
Yep.
charge of the chat. Next up, Hit and Run versus Mainframe. This one sucks too because Hit and Run, obviously going to be a better figure, but I got to go Special Mission Brazil and Mainframe.
Zarina needs her boy toy. It's got to be Mainframe.
Oh,
yeah, Hit and Run's definitely a better looking figure, but I don't have any nostalgia with Hit and Run. I got no connection. Got to go with Mainframe. I'm just curious what you do with Mainframe because, you know, he's certainly not going to be carrying a giant like suitcase computer with a tiny screen.
I bet he is.
Yeah.
Just like they did with Dialtone's backpack, they'll figure a way to use that shape but make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Road Pig John chimed in real quick. Repeater needs to look like a tough guy in Classified.
Yeah, I agree.
I think most of the Joes should look like tough guys unless they're girls.
Next up, Zap versus Iceberg. This one was a little easier because the only way I want Iceberg is if he includes an orca animal companion. So in Zap, like it's difficult because I do want to see those originals, but at the same time, they're not the most exciting designs, and we have to assume they mean 1982 Zap. But I went with Zap on this one because otherwise I don't really care that much about Iceberg.
Well, to me, it doesn't make sense to include him on this because we got his gun and backpack, but Glenn, like it's not a
Flash.
Oh, we know he's gonna. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from. Well, I mean, we've got some bazookas.
Yeah,
but they would have to do a new one for him.
I'm going with Zap.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with Zap. I got to get that. You know, you got to get that little mustache that we never got in the original figure.
They should give him a couple of alternate thumbless hands.
Yeah.
Oh, with Iceberg, however, I don't think he should come with a whale companion. He should be like an Animorphs figure that actually transforms into an orca.
And real quick, because I guess he's the only one really voting for him. Rexship85 says Iceberg because Snow Job needs some dang backup.
You know who else needs backup? Iceberg, because he doesn't have a stupid backpack.
Yeah. All right, next up, Deep Six versus Short Fuse. And again, I'm torn because Short Fuse, again, I want those original guys, and Short Fuse was one of the first Joe figures I got. But I've been saying for years now, I need Deep Six in that dive suit. I cannot wait to see what the classified team does with that.
Yeah, see, I'm torn because they're not specific as to which look of Deep Six, because I don't want to say Deep Six and then get the version that came with the shark. I would really not be
That's
happy.
the one I want. Why would you not want that?
So I am going Short Fuse.
You're crazy.
We'll get to something later on, but I'm kind of disappointed we don't already have a Short Fuse announced. But I think we're gonna get him at some point in time. Deep Six, I think he's gonna wind up being a deluxe, and I want to like cut as many deluxe as I can out of my purchasing. So I'm going for Short Fuse.
Oh, you don't have to buy it. You just say you want it. All right, next up, Spearhead and Max versus Ambush. What this came down to for me was Animal Companion versus figure with a bunch of accessories that are going to make it difficult to pose or play with at all. So I went Spearhead and Max.
Yeah, well, I do appreciate Ambush's facial hair. I got to go with the Bobcat. So Spearhead and Max.
This one's tough. I do like the idea of having an Ambush figure with a full ghillie suit. But yeah, Spearhead and Max.
Fast Draw versus Bomb Strike. This one particularly is tough because Bomb Strike has been, I think, in my top 5 most wanted for a few years now. But Fast Draw is going to make a better toy. On the actual boards, I went with Fast Draw, but I think I'm changing my vote here to Bomb Strike.
Oh yeah, we need more females in the line, so totally Bomb Strike.
Yeah, Bomb Strike as well. I just feel like Fast Draw is that rig is gonna be so big, it's gonna take up so much space on the shelf.
Well, right, because it'll be even bigger than whatever it is that Heavy Duty comes with.
Yeah,
And Heavy Duty's looks massive.
And Metalhead too.
Yeah.
So real quickly, I'm not going to pull them all up, but it looks like in the Deep Six versus Short Fuse with the listeners, it's Deep Six all the way. We've got 89 Deep Six from Michael Gene Fleming. Road Pig John. Deep Six would look awesome in big underwater attire, kind of like a mini snake thing.
Oh man,
I'm liking that.
Yeah.
And Wreck Ship 85 Deep Six, but only if he's still a 5 points of articulation figure in 6-inch scale.
You mean 2? 2 points of articulation.
Right, yeah. Dude, I really like that idea of like retooling the snake. Put a big, I love a big bubble
helmet.
Put a big bubble helmet on it, and then have Deep Six in his like sweater and whatever. Oh man, that's a great idea, Road Pig John. All right, final pick of the Joes: Frostbite versus Blizzard. I don't care if we get either of these, beyond the fact that I like a Snowcat is a classified vehicle I would like to have. I'm just not a fan of Blizzard, and Frostbite without the Snowcat, I just have no feelings for. So I guess Blizzard, just to see how they do his stupid helmet in classified.
You disappoint me. Frostbite. If we don't get a Frostbite in the line, I'm going to storm the Hasbro studios.
Frostbite?
Yes.
What am I missing about Frostbite?
Since I'm a kid.
Really?
He's a big Kenny Loggins fan because he looks just like him.
Yeah. Who else is going to take you to the danger zone? Not Ace.
Wow.
I am co-signing on Frostbite for 2 reasons. Number 1 is I want a Snowcat. And number 2, because I want a Tiger Force Frostbite in the line because I've done that costume.
Now that I can get behind.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Now, if anyone could sway my opinion, Rachel Salinas has a very good point here.
Oh, indeed.
Blizzard has cool accessories.
That's Mini
Pete. Oh, sorry, that's Mini Pete. The chat moved on me. Okay, Blizzard, because Dairy Queen needs a classified exclusive.
Okay, yes, but he's just in a bag and comes with nothing.
No, he comes on a card or in the box, but he's served upside down.
Yeah.
And here I'm just thinking we'll get a G.I. Joe themed Blizzard at Dairy Queen.
Okay, so wait. Let's take this further. So they do Blizzard mainline release Blizzard, whatever. But there is a Dairy Queen exclusive Blizzard in cookies and cream camouflage. And it's just the figure, no accessories. It's just him, but cookies and cream camouflage, packaged upside down in packaging shaped like a Blizzard cup, like with the little dome top and everything. This is a great idea. Why are we not making these decisions? Clearly, we're full of good ideas here at Audible Interlude and the Audible Army. All right, we got to move on because we got so much to cover here. Next up, the Cobra Agents. Iron Grenadier Destro versus Hydro Viper. So, to me, Hydro Viper, much better toy. However, at this point, we have to have an Iron Grenadier Destro. So, I got to vote for that.
Again, I feel like, why is he on there? Because we're going to get him.
Right, I agree.
Even if we weren't, Hydro Viper.
Okay.
Oh, I have no interest in a Hydro Viper. IG Destro all the way.
Oh, wow. I think this next one was the toughest for me. Cesspool versus Voltar. Because I want both of those, Voltar and his big condor, buzzard, vulture, or whatever the heck it is. But Cesspool, like we have fallen in love. I think, Kristian, you were already there.
Yeah.
But we have fallen in love with Cesspool over the course of this show. I need a Cesspool, and I think I have to vote Cesspool.
100%. I take away the vulture, and if you were just comparing Cesspool and Voltar, Cesspool is still the more interesting toy.
And there's the possibility that they make the vulture as just this slug with no articulation.
And that's actually, you and Rex Ship are on the same page with the Cesspool, but Voltar comes with a vulture, but Hasbro's track record with birds isn't great, to be honest.
I mean, you got to think, though, they would probably do it Freedom style.
I bet they wouldn't.
But I don't know. I don't know, but we'll never find out because Cesspool. Well, wait, does Cesspool? What'd you say, Noel? Or did
I have not thrown my vote in, but
boy,
I would probably have to go with Cesspool.
Just would be a great figure.
Mm-hmm.
And Cesspool, I'm with you, Mini Pete. Cesspool, so we can get a septic tank.
Are they gonna retool the class of the HasLab Hiss? I doubt that.
So at one point, Emily basically said they were doing that. Now, this was like 3 years ago, but that was the plan. But now people get really sensitive about that idea. Well, I paid this much for a Hiss, and you're gonna
well,
you're gonna get one without electronics, and without a bunch of extra accessories.
It's gonna be a different version. It's not gonna be the one you got.
It'll be stripped down. Yeah,
right.
I mean, they could do it for $175 and not put the electronics and not have all the accessories and figures that you paid $300 for.
I'm down with. I still think they should do it. All right. Oh, the next one's brutal too. Toxo Viper versus Globulus. I mean, I'll go ahead and say, I voted for Globulus, but that Toxo Viper, I think, was on my top 10 list.
Yeah.
I love that figure, but I gotta have my Cobra Law.
Yeah, this one hurts. It's Globulus. Darn you, Skybound.
Can I rescind my vote and save it one for another one so I can pick them both in another battle?
No, that is not how this works.
I won't. I would not buy either, probably. But you know what, Globulus, just because you got your Nemesis immortal now.
Next up, also horrible, Pythona versus Thrasher. Thrasher, in my top Dreadnoks, might be Ripper's my favorite, but Thrasher might be my number 2. Pythona, gotta have that Cobra Law, and just thinking of what they would do with her in Classified, that figure is going to be incredible when they get to it. So Pythona gets my vote here. What are you going to do?
Yeah, Pythona would have had my vote no matter what, but with everything that they've been doing with her and the Royal Guards in Void Rivals, Pythona.
Yes.
This is why I wanted to save my vote from the last one, so I could have both of these.
Both of these.
This one's tough, but because I'm probably not gonna ever get a Nemesis Immortal or a Globulus if it comes out, I would probably have to have a Thrasher because I want a Thunder Machine badly.
Well, and also though, Thrasher is one of the few drivers that I still want, even if we don't get the vehicle. Next up, the Cobra Law Royal Guard versus Heat Viper. Also painful because the Heat Viper is fantastic. And really the only way, and this is going to sound silly, the only way I could get through these is by thinking to myself, this doesn't actually matter. We're probably getting all of these. Stop worrying about it. I have to go Royal Guard. I have to. But man, I want that Heat Viper.
Yep, I'm going Heat Viper.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, not much of an opinion on this. I'll go with Royal Guard though, just so that the folks who want their full Cobra Law outfit can have their guards as well.
And it
Next
looks
up,
like the chat feels the same way as Dave, because we overwhelmingly have Royal Guards, and some of the individual Pythona forces from Skybound, Royal Guards, army building galore, Tom Henry with the Heat Viper.
oh, I thought he was
You,
going to say
sir,
Fang.
you, sir, deserve a Fang.
Next up is difficult because I don't care if we get either of these. Desert Scorpion versus Strato Viper. I picked Desert Scorpion only because that's just a standalone figure. And I guess I wouldn't mind having a big, however they decide to do the Scorpion. Like, that'd be cool, animal companion wise.
Yeah, I have no interest in the figure, but a giant oversized scorpion in the line,
Yeah.
I'm down.
I'll go with Strato Viper, and we'll make Tom Henry happy. We'll make him the pilot for the Fang.
Ooh, I think people would be mad over that because they'd be like, no, we're not going to get a classified Night Raven. Which I would like to go on record as saying, I do not want that. Crimson Guard Immortal versus Annihilator. This is easy for me because I've never, even in my evolving tastes of G.I. Joe and really becoming a fan of some of the later looks that I wasn't familiar with before, I still don't like the Crimson Guard Immortal. So Annihilator, I mean, helicopter backpack, come on.
Yeah, that Annihilator was one of my purchases from Joe Fest last year, and once I got it open, I'm like, this is actually a great figure. So Annihilator.
I mean, they have to do something about Annihilator's head so he doesn't look like a duck whose head is only like 6 inches tall. Yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna disagree, and I'm gonna go with the Crimson Guard Immortal.
Oh wow!
I would change the way he looks a little bit, and I would certainly not have that stupid weapon that he carries. Just make him more of make him look a little bit more like the regular Crimson Guards with a couple featured upgrades.
Or maybe have some. Here we go.
We can all agree with, and I hope I do not mispronounce your name, Jamie Bonson. I think we should skip this voting and all just agree we need a classified Lobotomax.
Done.
Winner.
Yeah, we're out of here. Show over.
And
hey, Reverend Scott Stripling Art, who will feature later in the show.
With the super chat.
Thank you so much for jumping in that super chat. Everything that we get via the super chat goes to hosting and all the fees and everything involved with providing this free show each and every week, or sometimes more often.
And if you can't super chat, just go ahead and hit that like button, smash it.
That's right.
Lots of times while we're talking.
Share it somewhere. Go on the socials and say, "Hey, people, come watch this thing," where people are talking smack.
Rachel Salinas, Crimson Guard Immortal, right off the set of the Black Hole.
Yep.
Oh, that makes me like it more, but not more than the Annihilator. All right, finally, we got to wrap this up. Zanzibar versus Targat. Another tough one because I love Zanzibar. Now I got to go. I'm going Zanzibar.
Yeah.
I betrayed Thrasher, so I have to stick with Zanzibar.
Zanzibar.
No brainer. Gotta have, if it's a Dreadnought, it's going to come down to the Dreadnought, so Zanzibar. But if they do a Targat, it needs to be a Targat exclusive.
Yeah, absolutely. Or at the very least, there needs to be a repaint in Target colors.
Like they did the Optimus Prime.
I'm not going to cook it, but I'll order it from Zanzibar. All right. Well, that's that. Everybody check out histank.com. Get your votes in. This continues throughout March until it comes down to the final. Whoever wins. This is all done by fair voting. It's a lot of fun to follow along with. And I think most of the past winners have been made at this point. Not saying any of this necessarily influences Hasbro, but we do know they watch the His Tank boards, so it's worth taking a look at. Lots of fun stuff going on over there all the time. And now it is time to officially move on to the news. And we've got a lot of it right out of the gate. Everybody needs to know that Retro Toy Quest has a new Kickstarter for one of their toy collectors' wish books. Only this one is focused on G.I. Joes. This is the first special edition in the series. The prior two Toy Collectors Wish books were done very much in the style of the old Sears and JCPenney catalogs. And Wayne Shiner, I believe. He'll be at Toylanta, by the way. Anyway, Wayne does all the photography himself. It's all like, it's incredible. If you have sentimentality or nostalgia for the old Sears Wish books, this recreates those while also serving as incredible encyclopedias for whatever collection it is. So the previous two books were multiple toy lines. This is just Joe. The Kickstarter is going on right now, and if you back it today, you can still get the early bird discount for the hardcover edition. Gives you $10 off the backing price. I've got the first one. I still need to pick up the second one, which I hope he's got some left at Toylanta. That it's in the budget for that. But the first book is incredible. I've looked at it over and over. I've actually looked at the first Toy Collector's Wish book more than I have looked at any of the G.I. Joe volumes that I've got, because it's just so much fun to flip through to a random page and just see what's there. So this is an idea of what the interior will look like. So it's very informational, but it is also these great Wish book style dioramas that he does. It's a very special thing. And I'm reminded in the chat,
I was waiting for a pause.
we must take a moment. Gentlemen, are we ready?
Oh, I thought we gave him that torture, but okay.
No. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hillbilly. Happy birthday to you. I wish I had a little.
And everybody check out podcasts from.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sure everybody appreciated that worst rendition of Happy Birthday ever. I'm so glad it's license free now, whatever it is. Because it occurred to me like right after we started, it was like, oh, can we do this? But we can now. All right, moving along to, let's see, I don't have a picture for this. Tariff Watch 2025. We're going to keep you updated throughout the year of pricing differences because the tariffs will unavoidably affect your wallet and the cost of the things that you're buying. Big Bad Toy Store has increased prices across the board on everything that I've looked at that they carry. It looks like it's a percentage, about 10%. So a $55 figure is now $61.99. A $24.99 figure is $27.99. And you can absolutely expect to see more of this across the board. I expect shipping prices to be going up as well. As a matter of fact, I just saw one of the online record stores that I buy from is doing away with their free shipping and going to a volume-based shipping system. So expect to see more of that from everywhere with everything that's going on right now. Just when you're making your pre-order decisions, take that into consideration. Next up, oh, here we go. Oh, no, I didn't get the image. I'm a terrible human being. All right, hang on. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick. I know I saved it. I forgot to put it in the slideshow.
While he's looking for that,
yes,
York and Joe, I'm wondering if that will help Big Bad Toy Store with their $4 shipping. That was my initial thought, because in my last job,
That was my initial thought.
I dealt with a lot of shipping, and I know the discounts are based on the amount of volume. So I think there's a strong possibility that their shipping cost has gone up, but instead of raising their shipping price, they are raising the prices of the goods.
Because as has been shown, the $9.99 with free shipping is better than $6.99 with $3 shipping.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is what I had to get the picture of. This is it's not a Toylanta exclusive. It's debuting at Toylanta. It is a 2025 convention exclusive from Fresh Monkey Fiction. This is Lieutenant Griffin, the Eraser, or it's basically the Operation Monster Force Invisible Man. And this is following in the footsteps of the first two convention exclusive figures from last year. This is a translucent purple, which I'm on it. I will be there Friday morning, Toylanta. This will be my first stop. But this is being referred to as the optically compromised variant. So whatever it is that makes Lieutenant Griffin invisible is going wrong. Think of it as the Predator with like the glitchy camo.
Well, good luck to you on Friday morning, because the floor opens at 5 for VIPs.
Oh, does it? I thought it was open during the day Friday.
No, Friday,
Okay.
5 p.m., and then Saturday it'll be open at 9 a.m. for
Well,
VIPs.
I might be able to get in there a little early, is all I'm saying.
I was already going to send you some money for some of the Four Horsemen stuff, especially now that they have that skeleton, that very much so Scareglow figure. But
that thing is expensive, though. Isn't it like $60 or something?
I think.
I feel like I remember seeing the price and being shocked.
But Yorktown Joe. This is the Dreadnoks Grape Soda version Eraser.
I like it.
But
yes, I will absolutely be getting this weekend. I will be reviewing it right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel next week. So look for that. All right. Moving along to more things Dave was right about. And boy, is that my favorite topic. Look at that. It's a snow version of the Arctic Hound. Well, it's the Arctic Hound, the snow version of the Hound from Gridiron Studios, with a complete back piece and treads, which is 100% what I said they were going to do. But this thing is beautiful. Kristian, do you still hate the open canopy?
I don't like the open canopy. However, it is such a huge difference by adding that closed-in back piece with the treads that it does look more like a snow vehicle. I still think they're going to be freezing until they get a canopy, but it definitely looks better.
No, they're not. Look at this. They are geared up. They've got masks. They've got goggles on top of their masks. They've got helmets. They'll be fine.
That's the Cobras. Have you seen what the Arctic Joe characters like? No.
Quick Kick was running around with his shoes off and no shirt.
Snow Job is so drunk he won't even know. He's drunk off of Finnish vodka.
Right.
It's a reference to last week's episode where we reviewed G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero number 61. So I love the little landing pad on the back. I think that's a nice touch. But what I love even more is the little Wally that it comes with that launches out of that back portion. Now it looks like, I can't tell, are the treads? I think those are just sculpted.
I think the big ones are.
Yeah. I think the little ones.
So probably the
are.
little ones as well.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Scrap Iron's launcher with those little slightly articulated treads, but they don't actually move.
I'm
So I
okay
don't-
with that. That's how the Snowcat was.
I don't know if these are still in stock or if they have sold out, but they are on. You know how to use Google Gridiron Studios. This is the Arctic Hound upgrade something or other. It's right at the top of the page if you go look. But it's a beautiful piece of machinery. And it went too far. But I'm still waiting for my Megaforce desert version. It has to happen.
It's going to.
I could kind of see them doing a Desert Fox style G.I. Joe upgrade to this too, because it's got a similar shape.
So yeah, I'm very, very tempted by this, but still not going to take the plunge because I'm positive we're going to see a desert version. All right, moving on. An update from our pals behind Legends of the Hidden Force. These are 99% finalized packaging samples. The last few things they're finalizing are Obake has incorrect weapons. For some reason, the factory gave him Kyonshi's weapons. Tarashi's claws are unpainted and they should be silver. They became aware of this 2 weeks ago and informed the factory, but it was not corrected. And finally, Ikiryo's cape. Way back in September, the factory sent them a pic of Ikiryo with a white cape. They informed them it was supposed to be clear. They heard nothing about this until 2 weeks ago when they said they're unable to do clear vinyl, so they're exploring options and should have a remedy soon. But I'm very excited about these. They're just cool looking O-rings. Look, as we've said many times on the show while this has been underway, like O-ring ninjas in the 80s, we've been all over these. Let's go. I'm ready for them. So just some cool packaging shots.
Rexship85 is asking, will these Hidden Force figures be at Joe Fest? This might be a chance to have the guys do a nice little call-in between now and then, or maybe an appearance.
Yeah, we need to bring them back on the show for sure. I've been wanting to do it for a while. I need to get on that. So yeah, we'll check in with them and find out. I think I would call it possible, but not likely. Because right now we're less than 3 months from Joe Fest. So if they're still finalizing things, I don't think there's enough time for these to be there. However, you know what probably will be there? Okay, whoops. You know what probably will be there? The first release of the classic O-ring Eagle Force figures, Savitar, the Ninja, unsurprisingly. This is, I believe, finished product that should be available at Joe Fest and possibly will be available between now and then. I mean, this is exciting because we were talking just a few weeks ago. Like, as much as I love the modern articulation figures that they did, O-ring Eagle Force is what I want. Where does this land for you guys as far as, this is a thing I might pick up if I see it in person?
Happy for everyone that wants a ninja figure, so please don't take this the wrong way. Absolutely will not pick this up. However, they came up with so many cool Eagle Force figures through Big Bad, like all those homages. So if they are going that route, or even some of the other more military Eagle Force figures, I'll be picking some up.
Yeah, the gold ones, and that's going to be the thing, though, is how gold can they get them? Because gold plastic, I don't see them using the same plastic they used for the modern articulate. Well, I don't know. I guess they could now. Really, they could. So, yeah, there's no reason they can't be that nice gold that the modern ones were. And just to clarify, Whiskey Jack Toys almost certainly will be at Joe Fest. I just doubt they're going to have anything more than maybe some samples of the figures to show off. I doubt they'll have finished product to sell there, but I'm sure the guys will be there.
Yeah, I was thinking that same thought about, this particular one doesn't really interest me, but I did like some of those crazy homage figures, like the Mario and Charlie Brown style, and just like all those. If I could see myself picking out a few of those, that might be nice little Easter eggs on my shelves.
That O-ring form factor is just so fun and appealing, and such. It's just good hand candy. All right, so yeah, that is happening, and guess what? There is the card back with a total of 9 figures that we will be seeing, I'm sure, very soon. Captain Eagle, the Cat, Striker, Big Bro, Sergeant Brown from Eagle Force, and then on the Riot side, Nemesis, Savitar, Fireball, and Riot Shock Trooper. Fireball will be your best companion at Dragon Con. Or is my best companion at Dragon Con. Anyway.
Striker.
Ooh, add Airplane to the Let's Freaking Go ring list.
If the Cat is an homage to Ernest Miller, I'll buy him in a heartbeat.
All right, moving on. G.I. Joe Reaction Plus Wave 3. We've already talked about it as much as we really need to talk about it, but it's looking like it is going to go up for order. Probably, if it follows the same pattern as the previous waves, available from Super 7 on April the 4th, which is way sooner than we thought. And then pre-order from the other retailers the same day. And that is another thing that Big Bad has increased the price on. They are now $21.99 rather than $19.99 from Big Bad. So, keep that in mind as you're deciding where to order and who to order from.
Yeah, and then with if you order them directly from Super 7, I think they charge, $6.99 for shipping?
I don't think they have their flat rate shipping anymore. The last few things I've ordered from them, I've had to pay like $10 or so. I think that $7 shipping didn't last very long.
Well, I think it was like $6.66 for shipping last time I ordered something from them. But yeah, so that'll be kind of a trade-off of whether or not Big Bad or ordering directly will be a better price for you with $4 shipping.
There's also the consideration that Big Bad is launching, which should be in the news, but I kind of want, I don't know, it just didn't make it in there. Bill Murphy is officially partnering with Big Bad to launch Big Bad Workshop. And that's while Big Bad is a huge company, I'm sure they've got to be very conscious of the expenses involved with having their own toy lines. So that's a possible consideration as well. But obviously, me, I'm in for all 4 of these. I think these pictures look better than the other ones we've seen. And I'm excited. And, I'll order straight from Super 7 because I need to get them and get them reviewed ASAP. All right, we got to move on.
Well, as you're moving on, Smog17 says Super 7 Wild Bill better have his iconic 6-fingered left hand. I'm with you.
He's Count Rugen.
Speaking of AI controversy, so everybody in the chat, what'd you think of that Cold Slither song and video? Let us know, because we're going to talk about it. So real quick, I want to say this. If Hasbro is using AI for the retro card backs, which they seem to be, and we discussed previously that due to the 6-fingered Wild Bill, it would seem that Super 7 is as well. And my guess is that is under the directive of Hasbro saying, hey, we want you using this AI stuff. because regardless of what you think of Super 7, I do not believe they would voluntarily go to AI for anything that they do, except maybe like organizational stuff, like the stuff AI should be used for, like creating clips for social media. But if Hasbro is using AI for those retro card backs, they are absolutely using it for everything else, which I would guess includes the vehicles that we're going to see and talk about on some of the card art today. But more on that later. Now let's talk about how AI can be used in other ways. When I first heard this song, my reaction was, this is so flat and unemotive that I think it's AI. I did some research and I have some information about some things here. And I will say, why am I not? There we go. Whether or not AI is inherently wrong to use for something like this is up to you, the listener, or the chat to decide. But I personally know several bands that could have absolutely kicked this thing's ass. And that's part of why it made me so angry when I heard this. And whether this version was done by AI or not, it's so anemic, it was disappointing to me. So here is the research. Well, and we talked about it a little bit in the chat. Where have you guys landed on your reception of the Cold Slither song and video?
Well,
yeah, go ahead, Noel.
I was gonna say, when the first time I heard it, I was listening to it on my little Bluetooth headphone that I use for work. Everything sounds tinny and crappy and flat through it, and so that's all I heard. I liked the video. It didn't even cross my mind that it was AI because it looked so hand drawn, and just like it looks like they took a bunch of hand drawn images and used a program to like move them around.
Well, guess what? We'll go ahead and address that right now because I don't want anybody getting upset as they're listening to this or watching this. The video was created by Kristian who is a graphic artist, an animator, and apparently we're not the only ones who smelled the artificial on this whole production, because he released this on his Instagram account. This is from the video's creator. Here are a part of the handmade drawings I created for the first ever Cold Slither video. As for any animation I am creating, the elements are handmade illustrations and paintings which are scanned, colored, and textured by Desktop Graphic Station. In my work, there is not even one element created, processed, or animated with AI or AI-assisted technology. So he also provided some really cool pictures of the artwork that he did, and you can see where it's segmented. There are different parts and things from where it was moving in the video, particularly on this second sheet here. You can see the different, like the head, the body. Some really cool. I'd actually love to see the rest of the artwork. So for a little background here, Kristian is a Romanian graphic designer, illustrator, and video artist. He has done stuff for bands At the Gates, Opeth, Arch Enemy, Dark Throne, Napalm Death, Arcturus, Oliver Enslaved, Triptychon, Deicide, Mayhem, My Dying Bride, Wardruna, Paradise Lost, Psy, and Necrophagia. So if you're a metal fan, you know at least some of those are legit bands that he has done work for. So we can see right here that the video itself, the visuals, were indeed were created by a human artist. I'm still not sold on the music being done that way. I sent a message to Reigning Phoenix Music, who is responsible for the actual production of the song and presumably the forthcoming album. And the first thing that came up for me when I Googled Reigning Phoenix Music was controversy over AI album art. So I sent him a message asking who the original artist was, just that I'd like to hear more of it. And then there is an article on the PRP.com, which I have never heard of, talking about this Cold Slither project. And here is the quote from the website. While the songwriting credits remain attributed to the fictional members of the band, the very real-life metal musician Gus Rios from Gruesome and Malevolent Creation is credited with producing this new version of the track. So that doesn't confirm anything one way or the other. And I Googled him, and there's really not much to see. So the bottom line is, whoever created the song, I don't particularly care for it. But we don't yet have an answer about how the song was created. But the video, again, I'd like to see a whole book of these graphics, because this is cool. I love seeing stuff like this.
Yeah.
So I want to add my 2 cents real quick.
Please do.
But get some stuff from the chat in. Wreckship 85. It sounded very generic to me. Tom Henry with about Cold Slither. My mom told me if I didn't have anything nice to say, that I should shut my yap. Now, Smog 17. I like the song. If anything, I just play it in the background. Rachel Salinas with I dig the Cold Slither song. I like that they added the galloping guitar riff. And most of all, Brett White with oh my God, journalism is happening in front of our eyes. Every now and then, Brett, every now and then we come through.
Research is pretty much the bane of my existence, but I felt very strongly about talking about this. But I didn't want to just speculate. I wanted to have, as much as I could fact-wise.
So I actually, I can't say I've seen the video all the way through. Once it went up, I just wanted the song so that while I'm at work, I could listen to it and determine. Because usually with me, it takes a few listens. And I know it's an all-male band. I want Cybertronic Spree to do a cover of the Cold Slither song.
Dude, we've been talking about for years. Cold Slither, the G.I. Joe movie theme.
They would have torn that song.
They would have killed it. They would have killed it.
It would have had all the emotional builds and the punches that you wanted. And this was like, I'm not even gonna, I hate saying this, like, it doesn't even compare to the hair metal that we used to listen to in the 80s. Like, even whoever mixed it, to me, the instrument volume was way too loud compared to the vocals. And the vocals were like, we're starting at a 5 and we're staying at a 5 the whole way through.
Yeah, the vocals, once I actually listened to it on good headphones, I was like, oh yeah, it's just very one note. It's just very flat throughout.
It sounds like Hal from Space Odyssey singing Cold Slither.
And then like, did they change the lyrics to the eyes of a lizard for some reason instead of the eyes of a viper?
Oh wow, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, that seemed a little odd, but yeah.
That sounds like something AI would do. And look, this is inconclusive. We don't know. But real quick, I just want to point out, a couple of years ago, Cybertronic Spree released like a limited edition G.I. Joe sticker. It's Spree with the red, white, and blue behind it. It's like a glitter. It's incredible. And I was like, oh, this is it. They're finally going to do some G.I. Joe stuff. Nothing.
When I think about how Filmation was able to contract just, studio players to make something like Sugar Sugar that has more emotional punch than Cold Slither did. It just makes you. Hopefully, there's better tracks on the album. Keeping my fingers crossed. Trying to be positive.
Well, and that's the thing is, I don't really have interest in an album of Cold Slither songs. I
Well,
don't
I
need
did, if it
even
was
if they
gonna
were
be-
talented musicians doing it, just because I don't like. There's nothing in it for me just to get like a whole album worth of
Well,
new material from a band that doesn't really exist. You
So
know,
you're saying if
That
you
is
had the opportunity to get a song called Backup Baroness, you would just pass.
it could have been a lot of fun. There have been a lot of like fake band albums that, when hit with the right kind of creativity and like tongue-in-cheekness, have been a lot of fun. And I'd also like to remind you, 5-6 years ago, whenever it was, I was not interested in a serious hip-hop album about G.I. Joe. That didn't seem like something that could be done with any credibility whatsoever. And then, a few years later, I'm spending 100 and whatever bucks on the test pressing of that album. So keep an open mind. You never know.
Well, and why Vegeta chimed in with agreed, it sounded off, possible AI, but I still enjoyed it coming from someone who runs the soundboard part-time. That is awesome. Like, everybody that loves the song enjoys it. Who knows? If I listen to it enough times, it'll be just like Smog, it's in the background. I just, with some of the bands that we've heard that do remixes and covers of songs from cartoons,
Right.
there were just better people out there.
That's what kills me is I know several bands that would have killed this. There's a cartoon cover band, and I can't think what they're called right now. Our pal Ryan Cadaver, who, by the way, is in 2 different bands that each would have done an incredible job of this. Yeah, there were better options than what we got, but we got to move on. We can't spend any more time talking about this. To wrap it up, Cold Slither video, absolutely not AI. Song, we do not know. But personally, for me, it's not to my taste. But if you enjoy it, that's awesome, and you should continue enjoying it. And hopefully, the rest of the album will be great.
like this song will go, even this version, as weak as it is, it's going to go in my playlist. It'll pop up every now and then when I'm just listening to random music, I'm sure. It's presuming that it was, produced legitimately. It's harmless in that sense. It'll be fine. But, it's not like something I'm going to seek out.
So moving on to actual G.I. Joe news. Look at this guy. Boy, I wish I had done this differently because I hate to. Well, I'll start with the negative on this one. That backpack. Come on. Now,
That's my only complaint.
to be fair, I meant to do a side-by-side. So here is the original Snake Eyes version 4 and his accessories. So we have to take that into consideration when we look at the classified version, where they have added a backpack and a sword. Unfortunately, it's the movie backpack and the movie swords, which the movie swords are fine, whatever. They work for classified. But you guys, there is no spring-loaded rocket launcher here.
I didn't even need it to be spring-loaded. I just wanted an oversized Rob Liefeld cannon. And I know, according to Noel, the backs of things don't exist, but I need that back piece to be sculpted to form to their actual back, because the Cobra Commander one like that is garbage.
Oh yeah. It is. No, that's the same thing. It's just flat. It's no good. Here's a little story about back. Noel and I, many, many years ago, attended a concert together by the phenomenal Sir Mix-a-Lot. And when he launched into his most famous song, Baby got back. Noel stood up in the audience and said, "No, she don't, and I don't care if she does," and left.
Noel's
Anyway.
more of a put him on the shelf kind of guy.
But as far as just the figure, also we've got a grappling hook here, right? And I will note that renders do not tend to include soft goods. So this may come with rope. We don't know for sure. Just something to point out. Kristian, you're making funny faces.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's
then
what I do.
To go back over to this guy,
Tom Henry's example.
We're gonna take a look at the figure itself. Really, the only thing I would change about the classified version is I do kind of wish he had the blue shin guards. Other than that, like just the figure, I think it looks pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
I like the added web gear on the thighs. You can take it off if you don't like it. I think they've done a fair job here because if you break it down, the essential accessories of the original are sword, weird blaster, and grappling hook. And guess what? This one has all that. It's just missing.
They should have made one of the swords red. Like, I do feel like they still chicken out with the 90s figures for letting them at least have a bigger nod to the wackiness.
Well, I mean, I like the fact they kept some red highlights on the swords and on the SMG, without making them just purely bright red.
Ropig John wants to know why we need soft good. Because if you throw a grappling hook with nothing attached, you're not going anywhere.
The soft goods was a reference to the rope that could potentially come with the figure to work with the grappling hook. And soft goods are not generally presented in renders. All right. So there's that. Next up, Hawk with the MMS. And I mean, for me, no notes. This is what I want. I'll buy this. I didn't care about the HMS, but this to me, this is a beauty. What do you guys think?
I quite enjoy the HMS, so yeah, this is going to be on my want list for sure.
Yep, my only note was it looks exactly how I thought it would.
It's got I love the extra painted detail, like on the pistons, on the drop down legs. Everything about it looks really sharp. Hawk looks great. He's got that flat top going on. He's got a little bit of updated, like he fits in with what they've been doing with the 1982 Joes. I
don't need all the blast effects because I don't.
I agree with that.
I didn't need them in the other one either.
Yeah.
But this was where I was talking earlier about my disappointment about short fuse because I figured I don't need an 82 Hawk, really. I've got my 86 Hawk on my shelf, and that's the one that I prefer. So I would have loved for them to pack short fuse in because it kind of makes sense because what's a mortar soldier doing in 2025? Let him be the guy who controls the giant, rocket launching rig here, missile launching rig. But yeah.
Yeah, but if they hadn't done an 82 Hawk, that'd be a hole in the line. It just would. So yeah, this is MMS and Hawk. As soon as it goes up, I'll order. Looks great.
I presume it'll probably be around the same price as the other one.
What was it? 75?
74? Yeah, 74.99.
Yeah. And now a surprisingly to me controversial figure. Because there are those. How do you guys feel about support troops for the Joes? Should they be a thing or not?
Never cared for the idea.
So in my notes, it says a year ago, I would have been all over this. hearing Noel's thoughts on support troops for the Joes, now it's a pass.
Oh my gosh, you
The
guys.
Joes are like an elite force. They should be all just the best of the best.
But they
It's
have
always
to
been-
have support troops to call in. Like, you can't just have all name Joes on an operation that requires 200 troops.
And I also, for me, there's also an aspect of like, do I like the concept of this for people who want to army build? 100%, because grunt is grunt. But with the price of things, if I was to say, okay, out of these pre-orders, what could I easily skip and not feel like I'm missing something?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's this.
Look, I'll agree with that, and to an extent, I'll even agree with the next thing that we're going to talk about, because the announcement was there are only 2 figures in the final retro card back wave. Which, by the way, that's this GI Joe green shirt is. There are only 2 figures in the final wave. This green shirt, which I think looks exactly like it needs to look. I think both portraits are great. Fortunately, they have actually done 2 different portraits instead of just recoloring the same portrait.
Oh, the guy on the right looks like he's smelled a fart. He just has the kind of.
Look, I'm telling you right now, in the military, I bet that happens a lot.
It does look like the chat disagrees with us, because most of them do seem for it. Yorktown Joe, Kit Bash Fodder, Worlds Without Steeler by painting purple under the eyes of the lighter head. Brett White, think of them as the G.I. Joe version of the New Mutants. That is only if the package art, instead of being by AI, is by Bill Sienkiewicz. We've got also Brett White, Essential-ish for Sunbow Completus. So, and Tom Henry, just pretend it's codename fodder.
Well, and that's how I look at these guys. Like, they're not. I don't think of them as part of the Joe team. I think of them as military troops that are set aside specifically to assist the Joes. Like, I think that's how they were presented in Sunbow and in the comics, because they're in both, by the way. This isn't a debate. It's not like they're part of the canon. That's just a fact.
Oh, they're part of the canon because somebody needs to die on the field.
I was going to say they're part of the canon fodder.
Well, and look,
Right.
that's
like,
another aspect of it.
I'm on the GI Bill, and I'm gonna get my degree. And no, you're just gonna get a hole in the head.
They need red shirts. But anyway, I think they've done a very good job with this. I like that it comes with the visored helmet. The Stalker blaster is kind of a weird choice to me. I would have been fine if they just all came with the XLR whatever laser rifle. But anyway, I'll buy 2 because I want both the portraits on display. But that'll be the end of it for me. This next one, I don't know for sure, because the Bat is my favorite classified troop builder so far. And this retro cardback Bat kicks it up a notch by including a couple of blast effects. You'll notice that Energon blue laser.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the flame effect, and it's got the scoring on the barrel of the flamethrower and the laser blaster. It's got the red Sunbow style visor. It looks great. I know I'll buy 1 just to have it. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Great for those that want it. I have zero interest in it. I've got 4 of the first release bats. I honestly don't need any more. And there's nothing different enough from this one, like the Viper, to make me go, oh, I need to swap them out.
this was, the color. This is the color scheme I would have loved to have had the first time around. But aside, like the yellow is not that much different, but it's different enough to where I don't want it on the shelf next to my other ones.
See, and that's my problem with it.
And then, like, the head's fine. Like, I can imagine having a bat with a red head next to one with a silver head more than I can imagine two close but not identical colors next to each other.
Well, that's the thing, is we've got the Arctic bats and the Crimson bats that are very, very, very different, so they're justified. This one's a little different. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'll get one just to review it and to have it.
And I think they mentioned that those they look white in the render, but I think they said those were clear.
They are clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said
Yeah.
they're translucent. Yeah,
So
which is nice.
Yeah, except that it's fine the way it is without one on there, because that's kind of looks like what I want it to look like anyway.
So yeah, I'll be curious to see the final product. And as we know, these renders never really capture what the final product is going to look like, which is what we're going to talk about in the next portion of the news, where we talk about the pre-orders. Frag Viper, I almost wasn't even interested in. And then when they showed us all the diorama pictures and the actual product pictures, this guy looks awesome. I only need one, but I'm like enthused about this one now.
I originally was. I only need one. I am now in the I will need two camp. I like. I have some issues. It's probably saved for a segment for another episode, as far as Lenny's referring to story building, just based off of other things they've been doing. But with it being this whole cybernetic, I'm thinking, it's reanimated dead. It becomes not necessarily a troop builder, but more than just, this would be a single specialized person.
Well, and that's why it makes it one that I'm comfortable just having one of, is now it's like a person that they experimented on to do this. And I'm just now noticing, first thing I noticed is, once again, they need Dave West arranging their figures for these shots, because look at those thigh holsters. That's shameful. But also I'm noticing, and I think I pointed this out when we saw the render, I don't love the fact that, because I think I remember us talking about if he even had just a grenade. Don't believe he does, because we looked at the backpack and I was wondering if maybe those might be individual grenades. And not only are they not, they're painted black. They're not painted. They're just black.
Yeah.
I don't love that. But everything else about the figure, I really dig.
Oh, okay. So, Rekship, this actually ties into one of my notes. He says, at Legion Cup, can't remember where I heard it from, but allegedly, when Lenny makes these updates to lore, it means it probably will be in the Inner John comics eventually. So actually, in my notes for the Frag Viper, I have cool that Emily gave a shout out to the Real American Heroes storyline that's been going on, because there have been some of the mutated Frag Vipers. Also, and I think this goes, I can't remember if it was Lenny or Emily. I think it was Emily that said this was a super iconic Cobra figure. So I wanted to throw that out to the chat, because when I think of iconic Cobra figures, I don't know, without classified, like original run.
Well, look, Emily said a couple of kind of crazy things. We'll get to the other one later on. She's just getting back into the groove.
Sure, sure, sure,
She
sure.
has been away from the brand for a little while, and I think there were a couple of things she said that maybe if she had been here all along, possibly wouldn't have. So I think that was just kind of.
And if that, if that came from Lenny or somebody else in the office, like I want to know what your childhoods were like, because who was fighting over being the Frag Viper in
Well,
the original?
also though, to be fair, people 10 years younger than us have very different favorites than we do.
Oh, sure.
Even people 5 years younger than us. So there
Yeah.
are, I'm sure there are those out there who are like, oh yeah, Frag Viper was my guy.
And honestly, I'm not being facetious. I would love to hear from you all, because this was a figure that I wasn't excited for, because the original one to me is so boring looking. But then once we saw the renders, like, I am genuinely excited for the Frag Viper now. I just would not have got that if this was nothing but an updo of the original.
So next up, we got to take a look at the back of the packaging, which I've included these for a reason. Now, in the Frag Viper, it's less important than some of the other ones we're going to take a look at. But just cool to see him making a point of, hey, it's a troop builder.
I passed on Frag Viper, but no, he's definitely an upgrade over the original.
Blowtorch, who we really liked as a render, and I like even more seeing the actual figure. I think all the added details are great. We discussed the suit that's underneath the red armor pieces, the silver detail that looks like maybe some kind of like heat sink, like heat capture and to reflect something or other. They sort of halfway tried to explain it in the live stream, and I enjoyed it because I love when like they clearly get the concept they've put together, and then they're in the live stream and they're like, oh, I have to articulate this in front of people now because I've been there, and I appreciate that specific kind of pain.
Yeah, the more that they were trying to explain the octopus suckers, my brain in my canon, that's asbestos. That's what's keeping Blowtorch from setting himself on fire, or all these little asbestos packets on his armor.
Where are you on this guy, Noel?
No, I think he looks fantastic. I love the I love seeing him all suited up with the mask and the helmet on and everything. And this was one that was going to be an insta buy for me, because I have to have someone to yell pork chop sandwiches on my shelf.
There is the card back, which has him in action, but even more interestingly,
we have next Pazlab.
A weird blocky bridge layer, and this is where my AI comment from before came in, because I don't believe anybody threw together this model bridge layer to stick in the background. And I think all along, these vehicles we've seen in the background and been speculating about, I think there's a potential that these are kind of just generated. But it looks like Hawk piloting that thing, maybe.
It looks like Tiger Force Outback to me, but
oh, you could be right. Yeah, maybe. But it's definitely not Toll Booth. Just an interesting thing to notice in the background, and probably signifies nothing.
But historically, when we see vehicles or other like figures on the backs of these packages, they do signify something. So it's kind of odd that they would choose a bridge layer.
I feel like we've seen some weird mashup vehicles in the past that we couldn't totally tell what they are, and nothing has materialized out of those. I seem to remember an Arctic one that we couldn't even figure out what it was, and that was a couple years ago, and nothing's come of that. I think they just kind of make stuff up. I don't expect a bridge layer, but we'll see.
I don't either.
We'll see. Darklon, and this was the other thing that Emily said that was a little head scratchy, is she was trying to attribute him being a troop builder, and Lenny was like, I mean, you could, I guess.
Now, okay, I will give Emily some bonus points for that, actually, because it made me think of when we were doing our March Madness, because what was it, the Interrogator? Like, I think that there are designs that maybe in the line weren't meant to be troop builders, but you can make them troop builders. And with that second head, I see where she's coming from. I don't think you would make Darklon a troop builder. I also want to know what cyberpunk they have been looking at or reading, because no.
I think we've talked enough about the alternate head, but the rest of the figure, the sword, his crazy blaster, he looks awesome.
Yeah.
He was definitely ordered this guy. And then on the back of his packaging, just a bunch of Iron Grenadiers, unsurprisingly. Well, and Iron Grenadier bats.
I think I mentioned before, but I do. The other head does look like a Quintesson face to me.
Well, on the back of the package, see, like, they even cut it off so that you don't have the tongue. Like, if it was a metal skeleton mask, like the whole, Darklon would wear different masks all the time. Destro doesn't. Like,
well, I mean, yeah, you can't. It's literally burned onto his face, at least in our current storyline.
But even in your cropping, you realize that the Gene Simmons tongue only belongs in a farewell tour,
or in Tony Katane. Wait, that's the wrong person, isn't it?
Wrong person. You're thinking of Shannon Tweed.
Sorry, Tony Katane. I meant Shannon Tweed.
Shannon Tweed.
Moving on. Now I got to cut loose.
I wish you could kick off his Sunday shoes.
His little bare feet. That'd be hilarious. He looks exactly like I want a classified Footloose to look. The only thing is I wish his RPG was a little smaller. Like the original figure, it's too bulky to me, and the fact that it's a new one.
They didn't just package the one that was with Bazooka.
Yeah, is kind of doubly strange, but he looks great. Look at him. I like him.
Well,
I bought him, or I pre-ordered him.
Yeah,
you could paint that one blue and give it to Hockey Matt Snake Eyes, and then he'll have an oversized gun.
Yeah,
but the go ahead.
Yeah, he was. There were only 3 that I ordered from this wave, and he was definitely one of them. As soon as I saw him.
And then on the back, we've got more vehicle action. There is a not quite Mauler that, we've talked, I don't know how many times, about classified tanks, what they could look like, what they could be. I would wait, it just occurs to me.
Why is he hanging out in the desert? Yeah, I wondered the same thing when I saw this initially.
Jungle-oriented guy in the desert. But anyway, I still would prefer, if we're getting a classified tank, I want it to be olive drab or some shade of green. I don't want it to be desert colors. So it's just interesting to notice in the background. And then whatever this is, which looks like a generic Cobra tank, because it looks like there's a Cobra symbol. It's not the same tank that's here, I don't think.
Mm.
So that just interesting. And then finally, Law and Order, instant pre-order. Very happy with these.
So you know how in the earlier renders we had commented about Footloose looking like Pedro Pascal, and then they made a big deal about, oh, we haven't shown Law with his helmet off. Convince me that Law is not Bern Gorman, who played Owen on Torchwood.
Oh,
He was-
yeah. Yeah, interesting. Which is doubly strange given his accent in G.I. Joe the movie.
Yeah, I don't know where that accent came from in G.I. Joe the movie.
Yeah, that really didn't make any sense. We've got some funny comments about the tanks going on over here. Yeah, this is great, but perhaps even more interesting than these final figure shots, we see the back of the box. Who the heck is that?
It's Beachhead with his beret on is what I figured.
Yeah,
But
that's
it
what I thought.
isn't, because it's Night Force Falcon's body.
So Beachhead can only wear
with-
the same clothes every single day,
with-
but Darklon can wear a different
different
mask.
masks.
They're in like obviously steamy,
Well, this
humid jungle. He needs short sleeves.
Well,
well, this
okay,
is the
so I'm
scene.
not-
This is the training scene from G.I. Joe the movie, is what I
right. And I'm
imagine
not
this is.
asking who this character is supposed to be. I'm asking what the heck is this? Because it's Night Force Falcon's, I believe, legs, but it's definitely his torso and shirt sleeves. It's Beachhead's torso layer, because you can see the beret on the side,
Mhm.
but he's also wearing a beret, and he has an unclothed neck and then a light green balaclava. So, like, it's just some random kit bash.
Wreckship 85
Very strange.
says it's AI Night Tiger Force Beachhead.
But if you're, and that was my thought, was exactly what you said, Noel, is it's referencing the scene in G.I. Joe the movie where, why is your dumb wolf bringing that bomb back, or whatever it is he says. But why not just put Beachhead back there? Because that's what he looks like in the movie. So this is very strange. And again, we don't know if this is, because with the figures, you're right. If a figure shows up on the packaging, typically we have seen those at some point. But this, looking at this, is not anything I would feel compelled to purchase unless it's packed in with something like really awesome.
We'll get to that.
The diver set that, despite all my enthusiasm for it, I passed on.
Yep.
I just don't need divers standing on the shelf unless they're named characters.
This is one that I expect to see in Ross outlets by the end of the year. It's just, I just don't imagine a lot of people are ordering this.
Have the Target exclusives shown up in Ross?
Yeah, remember the Tiger Paw showed up?
Oh, did it?
Yeah, Duke. Isn't that the motorcycle?
The Tiger Ram did.
Tiger Ram,
Okay.
whatever. You
Yeah,
call it.
I'm talking about in the last 2 years. Did
Yes, because
Tripwire and Roadblock?
Dusty.
I know they got marked down at Target.
But Tiger
Here's the
Force
thing.
Dusty was there just this past Christmas.
Here's the thing that toy fans tend to do is say, oh, this thing got marked down, clearanced, went to Ross 2 years ago. So this thing that's coming out 2 years later, the same thing will happen. And not thinking about the fact that Hasbro adjusts quantities, and Hasbro also knows when that stuff goes to Ross. Now, I'm not saying this isn't going to show up at Ross, but I also am saying that I am not expecting to find it discounted anywhere. Like, if I miss it, I miss it.
Based off of how the anniversary figures have been doing, and the other 2-packs, this will be marked down. I don't know if it will show up at Ross, but every single one of those has had at least one big sale. It may not stay marked down, but like think of the Tiger Force, Roadblock, and
Right, but
Tripwire.
what I'm saying is Hasbro is thinking of those as well and did not produce as many of these.
Oh, sure. I just think this one is outside of people that are really
Completists.
wanting that, the mass stuff. Although the collector says pre-orders for the Diver 2-pack
Yep.
sold out at Target and Hasbro Pulse. Stuff pre-orders used to sell out at Matty Collector as well. I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, but I think whoever really wants this pre-ordered it. And I think whatever stock makes it to the shelves, this isn't an impulse buy.
If any stock makes it to the shelves, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
We will see.
Fair enough.
We'll put a pin in it. I'm going to say I never see this in a store. Now, 3 months, wait, when does it come out? September, I think. So 6 months from now, there may be dozens of them sitting in every Target across the land, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a little more conservative with this mass device stuff. And that's the only part of this that does hurt me a little bit of not getting this set, is because I want them. I'm getting the Breaker and the
Snake Eyes.
well, yeah, Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear. I might cancel that. I don't need, because I really
$65 Polar Bear.
Yeah, I look. I'd like to have the Polar Bear, but as the year moves along,
if anyone wants the Snake Eyes, let me know, because I am literally just buying it for the Polar Bear.
I might cancel that. I just don't need it. And if I'm not getting this one, then I'm not going to have all the mass. And even if they do a mass device to utilize these elements, I don't want a classified scale mass device. That's what I said from the beginning. Moving on.
Give me a classified scale BET.
Something I do. No, thank you. Something I do want. Now give me an O-ring BET and I'm in. The snake armor that I ended up pre-ordering 2 of just because. But my gosh, this thing just looks awesome. Again, seeing the final product was just so different from seeing the renders.
So I was in Walmart the other day, and I finally saw those Nacelle Max Steel RoboForce figures,
Mm-hmm.
and they look a lot like this snake armor.
Yeah, they do. They do. Not as much fun. I did review one of those right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Everybody should check it out. I found they're perfectly fine. I'll just say that.
I like them.
They're perfectly fine. But this, oof, I'm excited. Now, are you guys getting snakes, or are you passing?
I'm getting one.
No snake here.
No snake here.
No, it's just
So
too big. It's too big, and it's $75, and it doesn't come with a figure. It's just a lot. It just doesn't have a place in my collection right now.
So $75 for the HMS.
Yeah,
was fine.
Well, that
but
was also
not
2 years ago when I got it.
Right,
and
which means
but it also
was,
like it serves a purpose, because it like I can haul it behind my Hiss, or I can put it behind my Stinger. It looks great with either one of those vehicles.
And I will say, when I look at my Hiss, I do think, man, it would be cool to have that thing behind it, but just not for that price.
Well, now you'll have a snake armor walking behind it.
That's right. Hanging on to the back, maybe.
Yeah. Back to the Future 2.
But like,
All
I
right,
wouldn't
and
even have a
this-
shelf tall enough to put this figure.
And the snake armor did sell out on Pulse. Now
Oh,
I'm sure
wow.
once they come in stock, I'm sure they'll end up with more available. But it did sell out. So we also got some name reveals. Finally, Battle Armor Cobra Commander. Is this a must-have on you guys' lists?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to look so great in classified. It just remains to be seen. Will it be a deluxe figure? Will they include alternate portraits? Will it be a helmet or a swappable head? How will they handle all of that?
I hope it's a removable helmet and it's got a Fred head.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a safe bet that they'll do something like that because it's a large enough helmet that it won't look weird if it's removable.
Well, and it's what they did with the 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm all in on this for sure. Will he be left-handed? We'll have to wait and see. Will he include a pointing finger? Since they've included it with other Cobra Commanders, I've got to think so.
Jumping back to Law and Order real quick, I do want to point out I am super appreciative that they did not just reuse the same extra hands that they've been using for every other figure that they do the extra hands with, that they said they did speak to people in a canine unit for what hand gestures they use.
I completely forgot to mention that.
They are the extra hands are in all new poses.
Oh, I thought they had said that about Mutt too, though. Didn't they say that about Mutt?
Mutt was the first one. Mutt came with the extra hands, but now it's like the exact same poses because the extra hands, like we got with Duke, they're not gloved, but everyone comes with those exact same, pointing finger, fist.
Yeah.
And if you look at Laws, there's very different like shapes, like
right.
doggy.
Let's see. I know Noel's excited about this one.
Well, when they showed the Cold Slither packet earlier, that was where I actually caught it, and I think that part aired after. Was that before or after they did the name reveals?
Well, there were pictures of the packages at Toy Fair, and you could see Monkey Wrench. Monkey Wrench there, and then Zorana in the ticket booth.
As soon as I saw Monkey Wrench, I was like, "Oh, that right there for sure tells us we're getting one very soon."
Yeah, and he needs to be pretty significantly new tooling. I don't see a lot of opportunities for reuse if they're going to make him look like I think he should look.
Mm-hmm. I just hope they finally give him a backpack.
Well, they didn't give the other Dreadnoks backpacks, so
it's not the first two.
I think your hopes are going to be dashed.
They gave Torch one.
Well, Torch kind of has to have. Well, I say has to. They could have put a big
Ripper kind of has to too, because that's what's supposed to power his big Jaws of Life.
It's all self-contained now. It's 2024.
And Buzzer, how are you going to fuel your
without the gas tank?
Your chainsaw without your gas tank.
So let's revisit real quick because we're not like running long or anything tonight. Do you think we're going to see retro card back Dreadnoks? I can't imagine because I just don't see beyond including the backpacks what else they could do.
Unless they just remold the heads to put the glasses on forever.
I wouldn't mind that, to be honest.
Because boy, I'm not a fan of the removable glasses because they do not want to stay on their heads and they look weird.
I don't mind them when they stay
Buzzer.
on. If they were all as good as Sergeant Slaughter's, I'd have no problems. But Buzzers are terrible, and Rippers are fine. But no, I am now officially team sunglasses permanent.
Yep. Yeah, Torch is so much better than either one of those other figures.
So the next name-only reveal. Weird that they used the classified art for Major Blood.
But they did say Major Glow Up.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Wait, is that a variant that somehow I don't know
did he say Major Glow Up or did he say Zuzd or whatever that word is they use? They said something about him being different.
Well, are they doing this as a? Because I wasn't sure. Are they talking about doing a different version of Major Blood? Or are they doing a retro card back?
I don't
Because that would make
need
sense to me.
No,
I don't
because
need any kind of repaint of the Major Blood we have. I would
No, I mean
rather
I think
get
he's a great figure, but I could imagine them doing him in more like animation colors.
and for people who are new to the line, like I'm on the same page as you, Dave. Like I really like that first Major Blood figure. I don't need another version. But the only way to get him now is secondary market. It's not like you can go on Big Bad and purchase Major Blood. So whatever they're doing, I'm actually very happy they're doing it because
I mean, that's the whole reason why they did another Mindbender. It's not that much different, but you're getting one into the hands of the people who couldn't get a convention exclusive a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's fair. And they could. Okay, I'll tell you what would be really cool. I don't know that it's got any basis in reality, but looking at this image right here, what if, and look down the line, maybe we get a more retro styled Major Blood that's all new tooling. We get the grenade blood that you guys like other Major Bloods. But just sticking with the tooling we currently have, what if they did all those metal parts right there in like a metallic looking plastic, like a gunmetal, like a
right.
brighter than what it is, like a like almost silver.
Yeah,
Like I think that could look really cool.
Yeah, and give him an actual eye patch.
Yeah, yeah, because they wouldn't be beyond just tooling up a new head. I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I just found it odd that they used this art, but I guess they wanted to let us know. Look, it's not really that new, but it's a little new.
And Wreckship, I remember the 85. I do remember them saying Major Blood will be in a wave with Battle Armor, Cobra Commander, and 2 other unnamed figures. And for our listeners who maybe didn't watch the live stream, with the stuff that they showed, not any of the name only stuff, just the stuff that they physically showed, that gets us all the way through 2025. So anything we are talking about now is 2026 and beyond.
And then finally, one other name only reveal with no images or anything attached to it. The long rumored / leaked / whatever Renegades 2-pack with Sergeant Slaughter and Mercer.
and I know we haven't talked about it here because we don't like to talk about like potentially leaked things, but there have been more Mercer torsos out, pictures of them out on the internet now for like 2 or 3 months. So we've seen some of the preliminary tooling for that figure, presumably.
Well, and for those of you that are on Blue Sky, on my page, we actually kind of had a discussion about it after the live stream because there were leaks for Cobra Commander. There's already, pictures floating around of Monkey Wrench's legs. Like it to me, it does take some of the excitement away, especially now when Emily made the comment about this is everything for 2025. And I'm like, well, I'm going to keep paying attention to Super 7 then because
They just spring things on you.
I want to get excited, and I do try my best to avoid seeing spoiler photos. But now, your toy newsies, toy fairs, like they're posting those photos going, hey, this is showing up in social media. And it's like, I don't know, like spoilers don't ruin a TV show or a movie for me. But when it comes to our toy lines, I get why we live in a day and age where we have to pre-order everything so far in advance. But I want to be excited. And this live stream felt like I know everything you're talking about. You have not said or shown one thing that made me go, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I do enjoy. Well, I didn't know any of the name reveals for sure because I do avoid spoilers like the plague. Because the last thing I want is my first look at a figure to be some crummy picture from, a table in a factory somewhere, bad lighting. I don't want to see stuff like that.
Right.
But the name only reveals were surprises to me. But it's not about surprises for the live streams for me. It's about seeing the team be excited and talk about what they're doing. And it's what I said when we talked about the render reveals for the pre-order stuff this time. I said, well, I'm excited about the live stream because I want to see them talk about this stuff. And them talking about the snake made me want it more. Them talking about Darklawn made me more anticipatory of it. Like, I enjoy hearing about their creative process, what they found
Sure.
special about each thing, each part of the design process. Like, I love that stuff. I like the live streams for that. And if
I
they
do
have
too.
an actual surprise, then that's a bonus.
Then I just think of like those earlier live streams. And again, I get that things have changed, but when you go back and look at our episodes from, even 2 years ago, we didn't have the leaks like we do now. So it was like when you got the live stream, you had people speculating online, you had rumors. I'm okay with that. Like, hearing a rumor that there's going to be a 2-pack of Sergeant Slaughter and Mercer, I can hear that and be like, maybe why wouldn't they put Mercer with somebody else? Blah, 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 blah. Maybe they're going to announce it. Maybe they're not. But then when you're seeing photos of the Mercer torso, it's like, why do you guys act like when they were like at the end, oh, can we do one more reveal? Or can we show them one more thing? And Emily was, and I get that it's all scripted, but Emily's like, oh, no, we've given them enough. I'm like, team, you've given us, it's March, and we know everything for the rest of the year. At this point, show us. Or why doesn't Hasbro get ahead of the leaked photos the same way that some of the independent companies like
Because they're Hasbro, because they're a major
Yeah.
corporation, because they can't anticipate these scumbags who leak these photos, and because everything that they present, there's no turning on a dime for Hasbro and deciding, okay, well, we actually need to reveal this thing 3 months earlier than we planned to. Like Boss Fight can do that. They usually don't, by the way, but they can. Hasbro can't maneuver like that. It's just
That's
not
why
practical.
I'm going back to my old way of thinking. I wish Hasbro would troll this fandom a little bit more and put stuff out there or hints of stuff that absolutely is not what they're going to be talking
You are
about.
out of your freaking
I
mind if you
know.
think
I
that's a good
know.
idea. All right, we have wandered into completely ridiculous territory, and we have run out of time. We're going to have to delay Sound Off and Joe and Tell for a couple of weeks because it is almost 10 o'clock, and we cannot brush up against that 10 o'clock hour or the sponsors get mad at us. This one really went off the rails at the end.
Sorry.
But we yeah, I was like, where is he going? This road seems to not lead anywhere, but we'll follow Kristian's bright shining light of insanity. We'll see what happens.
Flames during the end of that live stream.
So yeah, that is all the time we've got. Like I said, Sound Off and Joe and Tell. We'll hang on to those for a couple of weeks. Next week will be another segments episode where we'll have a review and a couple other fun things for you. Probably a Let's Freaking Go ring because we've got about 4 of those banked at this point. or at least 4 concepts banked. But before we get to that, Noel, why don't you tell us a little bit about the Finest?
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming club, and we raise money for a fantastic charity called Canines for Warriors. If you are coming to Toylanta this coming weekend, we're going to be there. We will be in the Oak room, which I believe is upstairs above where the main vendor hall is, but we'll have vendors. From my understanding, we're between FarleyCon and Extensive Enterprises on the map. So check us out. We'll be there Friday for preview night, and we'll be there all day Saturday and Sunday. And you can drop by. We'll have a lot of folks in costumes talking Joe. You can throw a few bucks our way. It goes to a fantastic charity. Like I said, everything does go to Canines for Warriors, and you can pick up some cool swag we'll have at our booth as well, and probably some cookies and things like that too. We've learned that people like to eat food when they're at conventions.
People do like to snack.
Yes,
They be snacking.
and it'll be a lot
Kristian,
cheaper
where
than
can-
the vendor's officials, the official whatever you call them, restaurants in the place.
Buy
I
a
think-
cookie and you get a photo with Noel.
I could be wrong. I think Brett said they're looking to have food trucks out there. So there may be options other than
Generic
you know,
hot
this-
dog place.
yeah. You may not have to spend $15 for a naked hot dog. Kristian, where can we find that toy photography you do so well?
You can find me on Instagram under Legion Cub. I have been more active on my Blue Sky account, also under Legion Cub.
Well, that is all the time we've got. Remember, follow us at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Our next live stream here on the Needless Things YouTube channel is April the 7th. The audio version of this episode will be available this Friday. Next week, we will have an audio segments episode. Our music is by Andy Simford of ElectricMinnowMusic.com. And until next time, yo, Joe.
Cobra intern.